How's it going, guys? My name is Jared and welcome back to MoneyMetEish. In 2015, the government announced that South African investors would be able to invest tax-free through a tax-free savings account, a tool we love utilizing at MoneyMetEish. So, let's take a look at what a tax-free savings account is, compare a tax-free savings account to other long-term investment vehicles, and stick around till the end of the video to find out the best way to utilize your tax-free savings account with easy equities. But before we get started, please remember that my videos are meant for education and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as the basis for any investment decision, as I am not a financial advisor, this is not financial advice, and this is not a blank cup. If you like the content we produce, please show us some love by smashing the like button, sharing the video far and wide, commenting and subscribing down below. And also remember to ring the notification bell to be notified every time we upload new videos. So what is a tax-free savings account? The tax-free savings account, or TFSA, was introduced in 2015 to encourage more South Africans to save for retirement by allowing investors to make contributions of up to 36,000 Rand a year or 500,000 Rand over their lifetime completely tax-free. That means that there will be no taxes levied against any dividends, capital gains, or interest gained on money invested through the tax-free savings account, which, if used correctly, can lead to the investor keeping almost 1 million Rand extra that would have been paid in taxes on the lowest income tax bracket than they would have had their investments not been in a tax-free savings account. And this amount only gets higher as your tax bracket gets higher. The basic premise of a tax-free savings account is simple. Stay within the contribution limits, invest in a select group of products or services. Unfortunately, single stocks are not available like they are in Roth products in the USA, and let your money grow tax-free for the long term. The name tax-free savings account is slightly misleading because although the account can be used as a savings account, this would be a waste of what the account can actually do. A much better name would be a tax-free investment account, which would get the point across a lot easier that this is a long-term investment vehicle and not just something you can move money in willy-nilly here and there. Some things to consider when investing using a tax-free savings account are: there is an annual and lifetime limit of 36,000 and 500,000 Rand respectively, and over-contributions will be taxed at 40%. So every Rand you contribute over the annual limit, 40 cents of that is going to tax. Number 2, leftover contributions will not roll over for the next year and will instead add an additional year to the time it will take for you to max out your tax-free savings account. So if you contribute only 30,000 Rand this year, you cannot contribute 42,000 Rand next year. Instead, that 6,000 Rand will have to be contributed in its own tax year, which adds to how long it will take you to max out your TFSA. Number 3, withdrawals are deducted from your total allowance. This is one of the biggest things to consider when using a tax-free savings account. The fact that there is a lifetime limit means that a TFSA is really better used as a long-term or even retirement investment. If you contribute 100,000 Rand into your TFSA and decide to withdraw 50,000 Rand, that 50,000 Rand can never be replaced, as your total lifetime allowance still available to you will still only be 400,000 Rand. And although there is no direct financial penalty for taking money out of your account, the opportunity cost could be massive. That 50,000 Rand alone, at a 7% interest rate, could grow to around 380,000 Rand in 30 years. So the tax-free savings account is really not an account that you should be using if you need this money in the next 3, 5, or even 10 years. So who is the best provider to open your tax-free savings account with? Tax-free savings accounts are offered by all major banks and financial institutions. And although you can have more than one TFSA registered to your name, you do not get any extra allowance with each of these extra accounts. So if you have 3 tax-free savings accounts or 1 tax-free savings account, your allowance is still only 36,000 Rand a year. To me, this just makes having more than one TFSA nothing more than extra admin, especially since you get taxed so heavily for over-contributing, and now you're giving yourself extra math homework to do as well, just to make sure you don't over-contribute. It's really just a lot of admin. And Googling the term top TFSAs in South Africa is not going to get you anywhere either, as every single list of top tax-free savings accounts is made up by large banks, which offer you little more really than just a money market account at 3 to 5% interest. Transferring your tax-free savings account from one provider to another can also be tricky. And it isn't as simple as just withdrawing the funds from one and depositing it into another, as this will result in not only a withdrawal but also another deposit, which, depending on the amount, might mean that not all of your money can be reinvested and could blow your annual allowance out of the water or even push you over the limit, and you could end up paying massive amounts of tax and opportunity costs to have the same amount or less invested as before you moved it. Our preferred provider and the one that we use for our tax-free savings account is Easy Equities, which gives you access to a large range of ETFs, unit trusts, baskets, and bundles by multiple providers in your tax-free savings account, including today's video sponsor, Sentio Capital Management. Sentio is an investment technology company that integrates bottom-up fundamental research with in-depth quantitative risk management. Their disciplined and detailed investment process is underpinned by a scientific valuation methodology that combines human knowledge and experience with machine learning and AI. Their suite of investment products targets both retail and qualified investors with specific risk and return objectives. To find out more, head over to their Instagram or visit sentiocapital.com. Link in the description below. We at MoneyMetEish are very proud to be partnering with Sentio to bring you a series of content over the next few weeks. Sentio Capital. Invest for good. Having access to so many different products and asset classes really allows you to take more control over your TFSA, and you could possibly move all of your funds offshore if you would like to. So, let's have a look at how to get the most out of your tax-free savings account. There is a very simple trick you can use to maximize the amount of time your money can spend in the market in your tax-free savings account, since there is no way for you to reduce how long it will take you to max your lifetime allowance. If you max out your annual contributions to your tax-free savings account every year, it will take you 13.8 years to reach your lifetime limit. And since that lifetime limit and how quickly you can reach it are capped, this hack will help you supercharge your TFSA. So, let's say you're an investor who is focused on ESG investing and you hold the Sentio SCI Hikmah Sharia General Equity Fund Unit Trust in your tax-free savings account. If you cannot afford to make a once-off lump sum contribution of 36,000 Rand every March, this hack will, after a few years, allow you to build up to where you could maximize your money's time in the market while still making monthly contributions. And here's what you do. Have the same fund in both your TFSA and your ZAR account on Easy Equities. In the first year, you make monthly contributions to your TFSA until you have reached your annual allowance. Once your annual allowance is maxed out for the year, assuming you've maxed it out before the end of the tax year, you continue to contribute to the same fund, but in your ZAR account instead. On the first day of the new tax year, you sell out of the fund in your ZAR account and transfer a lump sum into your TFSA. This will give your money an entire extra year's worth of time in the market. And we always say, time in the market is better than timing the market. So, once your TFSA is maxed out, you keep making monthly contributions to the same fund, but in your ZAR account. And since it is the same fund, they will perform exactly the same. On the first day of the new tax year, when you sell out of your fund in the ZAR account and transfer the funds into your TFSA, you will only be paying a small amount in fees, assuming you haven't exceeded your 40,000 Rand capital gains tax exemption on the very first day of the tax year. And because you're doing it all at the same time, with only a few minutes apart, market moves should be negligible. This way, you are able to benefit from making a lump sum contribution, having this contribution invested for a longer period, and reaping the rewards of having a larger amount of money in the market for a longer amount of time, while still making monthly contributions. This is the strategy we are looking to implement with our own personal tax-free savings accounts at MoneyMetEish. Now let's have a look at tax-free savings accounts versus retirement annuities. Because the TFSA is best utilized when used as a long-term investment vehicle, the obvious comparison is to compare the TFSA with other long-term investment vehicles, like retirement annuities. The major difference between the contributions to a tax-free savings account and the contributions to an RA are that the contributions to your tax-free savings account have actually already been taxed, since the money you're using is after-tax money, and contributions to your RA are tax-deductible, so those contributions are actually pre-tax money which you don't get taxed on until the time comes that you use those funds in your retirement. In my personal opinion, whatever tax benefits are offered by a retirement annuity are nullified if you ever plan to leave South Africa, as a whole slew of new tax reforms around financial immigration and cashing out your retirement annuities come into effect. There is also Regulation 28. Regulation 28 is, in my opinion, the biggest reason why tax-free savings accounts will always beat a retirement annuity. Regulation 28 was supposedly put in place to restrict the amount of risky assets a retirement or pension fund can invest in. I personally feel that it does little other than reduce the possible returns a retiree will end up with when they get to retirement age. Regulation 28 limits foreign investment exposure a fund can have to 30%. This limit does not exist in a tax-free savings account and is the reason I personally believe, remember, just my personal opinion, not financial advice, that a tax-free savings account will, in the long run, even with the supposed tax benefits of a retirement annuity, beat the RA for returns, as you could choose to invest 100% of your capital in your tax-free savings account offshore if you so wished. I believe a tax-free savings account will beat an RA for returns as long as Regulation 28 is in effect, simply because having 70% of your capital restricted to South Africa restricts you to less than 1% of the global equity market, whereas having more of your money in a much larger pool of money gives you the chance to make more money. Investors are able to move 100% of their investable capital abroad in a tax-free savings account through ETFs and unit trusts that hold 100% offshore assets. And although it is not to say that being 100% offshore is the be-all and end-all, but a much higher offshore exposure than just 30% has shown to be beneficial, especially over the last decade. You also have much more control over where your money is invested, and you're able to buy and sell ETFs and unit trusts and baskets and bundles as you see fit. This is why I believe a tax-free savings account is far better than the traditional retirement annuity, which also comes with a long list of management fees and commissions which you pay up front. And this is why the penalties for leaving your RA are so high, because they've already charged you all the fees. And your broker is expecting you to keep your money there until you reach at least 55 or 60 or 65, depending on what you signed on in the contract. It's little wonder then that the majority of articles critical of TFSAs are written and published by companies that offer traditional RAs. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel to see more content from MoneyMetEish. You can also comment down below and tell us what you think of tax-free savings accounts. If you would like to find out more about Sentio Capital Management and the products they offer, follow the links in the description below. You can also follow MoneyMetEish on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere where MoneyMetEishes are. Thank you and good night.